It's the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. We remain at the Bahrain International Circuit though, on the outer loop. Lewis Hamilton has won 11 times this year, but he will not take part in this weekend's Grand Prix due to the COVID-19 pandemic and him catching the virus, which means we could be looking at a fifth different winner in 2020. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, Hamilton, luckily, is already the champion. 332 points, is that how much it's going to be his total this year? Valtteri Bottas has held off second place away from Max Verstappen. However, that gap could close down in this weekend and next in Abu Dhabi. Daniel Ricciardo is in the fight for fourth place, just 2 points clear of Sergio Perez, who himself is 2 clear of Charles Leclerc after an impressive race last time out. Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz battling for supremacy at McLaren after a double points finish last time, followed by Alexander Albon now in 9th and Pierre Gasly now in 10th. The fight for 4 increasing to 6 drivers. Lance Stroll remains in 11th place on 59 points. Esteban Ocon is on 42. Vettel 13th on 33 points. Dani Kvyat, Nico Hülkenberg, Kimi Räikkönen, Antonio Giovinazzi, Romain Grosjean not this weekend for obvious reasons, Kevin Magnussen, Nicholas Latifi, and George Russell, now driving for Mercedes, stands his first ever chance of scoring a World Championship point. In the Constructors' Championship, Mercedes have already wrapped that up. 533 points to Red Bull's 274. It's really the battle for third. McLaren, with a fantastic result last weekend, has propelled them into third place, way ahead of Racing Point, and Renault are playing catch-up. Ferrari now out of the game for third. AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, 7th and 8th. Haas, and there's still no points on the board for Williams, although Russell might get some from Mercedes. It's the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix at the Bahrain International Circuit, and this is free practice 1. Let's take a look around the Bahrain International Circuit outer loop, the first time we've ever used this configuration. Starting on the F1 2020 game on the new normal track, hurtle down the usual start-finish straight towards turn 1. A heavy braking zone after a long DRS detection point. From 8th gear, late braking down into 2nd gear, about 70 miles an hour. Accelerate and compromise the exit at turn 2 to get a good run out of turn 3. Pay respects to Romain Grosjean and his horrific accident. How he managed to get out of that, we don't know. Now, let's switch back to the 2010 game on the old circuit that we used to use. Uphill, past now the tricky outer loop section into the chicane. It's bumpy, it's been resurfaced in parts, but the braking zone for the chicane is almost invisible. Hurtle out now, full speed. Ignore the barrier, flash back to 2020, and you're down the back straightaway out of what is now turn 9 and down towards turn 10, 11. The last 2 corners on the track, another DRS zone, hard on the brakes, full power once again. It is an incredibly short lap, around 55 seconds, but still, it's going to be a very chaotic Grand Prix. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first practice session for the 2020 Sakhir Grand Prix. We are just about to link up with our radio broadcasters as well, and we are getting ready for what is going to be a very dramatic weekend. You've seen the news, we'll go through it. Get ready, and welcome Sakhir. The night is drawing in here at the Bahrain International Circuit, but this time out, it's a very different look. Welcome to the Rolex Sakhir Grand Prix. We're on the outer loop, using part of the track we used back in 2010, looping back around onto the back straight. This unique 2.201 mile circuit could host the smallest ever track record in Formula One. We're predicting lap times of 55 seconds. Many people calling it an oval. It's anything but. Elevation change is still dramatic. 17 metres was last week. Try 27 this week. 3 tyres as usual. C4 the soft, C3 the medium, C2 is the hard. We are all ready to go around this very bizarre racetrack. No reference point, of course, which I think is a bit cheating because it is still the same circuit, and we still have had action zones on this track before. So I'll take you through a couple, shall I? How about Kazuki Nakajima back in 2010, losing the back of his Williams, skidding across the chicane on the back half of the stretch, and going out of the race. That was the only dramatic thing to happen at the endurance circuit of Bahrain. We still miss off the inside section, the endurance layout that nobody liked back in 2010, but I enjoyed it on the F1 2010 game and I went through it. You just saw a few moments ago. But we are all set for what's going to be a great session. Ian Birch is set to join me in the commentary box for free practice 1. Megan Birch will join me for free practice 2. And then who knows who's with me for free practice 3. But I know that all three of them, all three commentators, me included, will be back with us for the race as well. Good morning to everybody in the group chat as well. Good morning, everybody on the group chat. Get in touch with us. Thank you for saying that we'll have a nice stream. Hello Gwenwyn, hello Synthal, and hello the Alpinator. If you don't know who the Alpinator is, he's in BBB Racing on the Twitch esports series and a fantastically good driver as well, to plug that quite early. And how about that for a sight then? George Russell is sat in a Mercedes for the very first time. We'll get through all the stories. I'm sure you all know it, but we'll get through them. We talked about it about an hour ago in the preview show that went live. So that's on the YouTube chat as well. You can go back and have a look at that when Ian Birch was sat next to me in the box. But this is going to be a very interesting session because it's an outer loop circuit and it is going to be insane. So this is what has happened. Romain Grosjean had his accident back at Bahrain. The fiery accident. He has sadly burned his hands and can't race this weekend. In his place is Pietro Fittipaldi, grandson of Emerson Fittipaldi. He will be racing for Haas this weekend. And then on Tuesday, Lewis Hamilton announced that he has suddenly tested positive for COVID-19. Going forward, Williams have loaned out George Russell to Mercedes to replace him. And replacing Russell at Williams is Britain's Jack Aitken with a Korean background nationality. It is absolutely fantastic as a George Russell head pops up from behind to keep an eye on his car. So George Russell is racing for Mercedes. Jack Aitken makes his Formula 1 debut at Williams. And Pietro Fittipaldi races at Haas with Grosjean as well. Which result you think that Russell can reach? Well, I've been very much interested to see that we could see Russell at least on the podium. He's definitely going to score his first points, cross fingers, but who says Russell can't win? Many drivers have won on their debut with a new team after limited testing. Fernando Alonso won here in 2010 for Ferrari on the first time. Then if you go look at Max Verstappen, won on his first time with Red Bull. Who's to say that George Russell won't win this weekend? If I remember a test here at Bahrain 2 years ago as well, where we had a situation where Russell was in the Williams and then went into the Mercedes and had a faster car and went top as the green light goes on and free practice 1 is underway here for the Sakhir Grand Prix. But I'd just like to point out as well, George Russell went from the Williams and being at the back of the field. The next day he was in the Mercedes and topped the timesheets. There's nothing stopping him winning this weekend. In the group chat as well, Eric says, I'll just answer that. The Alpinator says Russell's going to win, says the Alpinator. Synthal says, where will Jack Aitken and Fittipaldi finish as well? Jack Aitken, I'll be very surprised if he gets inside the top 15. I'm thinking his best result could be at least 12th, maybe matching Russell. Latifi, I think, might out-qualify him as well. Going forward, I hope I don't miss anything as well in the group chat. For the very first time, maybe not the very last time as well, for George Russell in the Williams, I presume that's what Gwenwyn is saying. Good morning, by the way, Gwenwyn. What is it, 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning your time? But the sun has set here in Bahrain, the lights are on, and there is a Fittipaldi name back in Formula 1 for the first time in at least 30 years. So it's delightful to see him back on. This is the old circuit, the endurance layout, the little chicane area at 6 and 7 before this little turn 9, which loops you back onto the back straightaway. It is, in a sense, I can see why people call it an oval. I prefer to think of it as a roval, a road course in the shape of an oval, which is basically what this is. It's a roval. So I'm very excited for this weekend as well. Graham is saying, yes, I am. Okay, lovely. As well, I was hoping that would be there. So we have cars out on the track. Ricciardo, Bottas, Stroll, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Magnussen out there, and Raikkonen and Ocon as well. To my delight, if anybody watches on with the timers on the F1 app as well, they've actually decreased the size of the driver's name this weekend because it's such a short lap. They are all going to be congested together massively. So I can't wait to see what that is. I understand there's a little issue here on our stream, so just give me a second while I get rid of that for you. With the all new graphical display on the side there. It's so weird as well because unlike in 2010 when they gated off the inside part of the track, this time they haven't because they haven't had time in the 5 days to properly set up 2 different circuits. So it's a completely different run out. And this is the exit of turn 9. Better late than never. And braving the rain as well in our commentary box. There's your microphone for you. Ian Birch joins me in the commentary box. Good morning, Dad. It's an interesting day, isn't it, today? Rain outside our commentary box. And it's flooded almost.
Yeah,
but we'll take a seat.
The track down the garden is flooded.
Yes, so that's going to be something else going into this one. I was just saying about Fittipaldi being in Formula One. The first time a Fittipaldi name's been in there since 1990s odd.
Yeah, and as I said in the preview, when he was 7 years old and won his first cup in karting, his grandfather's got this magnificent desk.
Yes.
And room full of trophies. And he came waltzing in and said, this one's for you, Grandpa. And
pops it on.
It was all filmed, actually.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, Emerson was making a film at the time.
Oh, and, fantastic.
So he,
it's going to be fun, isn't it?
There's the thing, right? And Emerson's mentioned it a few times. He said he was going to emulate his grandfather one day and drive in Formula One. Well, he is.
I can't wait to see what this weekend's going to bring. There's Jack Aitken, the British with Korean heritage. His mother's Korean, of course. Jack Aitken on the circuit as well. And he is a talent and a half. We've seen him in Formula 2, but this is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, the thing about Jack jumping in that car is he's the simulator driver. So although he's got to get used to the real thing, he knows where all the buttons are. And he is well capable of getting past Latifi this weekend, because I think Jack is actually a better driver than Nicholas.
I did say maybe Latifi will out-qualify him.
Nicholas will have the situation where he's got more experience in that horrible car that Williams have produced for them this year. The positions that they are in, but George having no points for the last 18 months, is purely simply the car. The car is rubbish.
And looking forward as well, further back.
And it's because of the budget that they had to work with and getting aero design wrong, and which until the car races, you can't always tell. Claire and the family did their very, very best, and the only reason there is a Williams racing out there that they was able to sell was because of the hard work put in by Claire and her staff. She's got nothing to go back on for the situation Williams are in. It was purely money that was things. Once you lost Lawrence Stroll
virtual
and
safety.
Toto,
Sorry, quick question.
We've got a virtual safety car out on track.
I believe this is a virtual safety car test to make sure it works. So
yeah, because I know if certain person's listening, she is.
Hello, go on.
Yeah,
yes, go on.
We're not having a go at Massey. Massey, like everybody, when he takes over something as important as this, has got to be allowed to get things wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we're not calling for him. We're just saying, like, the other lad, what was talking about, Whiting?
Charlie Whiting.
Charlie virtually wrote the rule book. And, Michael was Charlie's deputy for so many years.
Yeah.
We've got a situation under there where you can you get that wire out from that under that hot? Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, you continue.
See, there's health and safety for you. We have a fan heater under the desk, and the wire is underneath it, which will heat the wire up.
And we've moved it now. But
so we've moved it now, and it's not actually as warm under my legs. I wear shorts You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It was freezing when I came into the commentary box this morning that I actually had to wear 3 layers of coats. It was that cold.
I will say that the only reason that the Grand Prix went on afterwards was the sheer work of Michael and his team going down there and sorting it out for themselves. So they have praise for him.
Carlos Sainz is on the radio just now as he was reporting. And actually, his mechanic is telling him, remember to turn left, then turn right onto the wiggly bit, onto the back straight, because we haven't used this since 2010. No. So not a lot of people will remember this part of the track.
Carlos must be then thinking that it's my dad's co-driver.
Yes. Well, we have used this. I'm going to try that again. We have used this part of the track before, back in 2010. This was part of the endurance layout. If you're watching along, they used to turn right, but now we're going to go straight on and cut down the back straightaway, which would be the exit turn 13.
So the only person we've got on track is Carlos Sainz, and he's just coming up to the last corner now. It's virtually Sonoda. The style of this track is like the IndyCar track at Sonoda, owned by David Letterman. A number of drivers have said that it reminds them of that track. The only thing about Sonoda is it has the banking and high walls, which causes a lot of. I don't like the crashes in IndyCar. You know, I know they're spectacular and things like that, and I know people like to watch crashes. After all, there's so many shows that show these crashes. Sorry, people are talking in my ears.
Yeah, Eric, just 2 seconds. Eric, I'll get to your question in just a second. I'll just finish this conversation with Dad. Yeah, I was just saying about the fact I called this one a roval. It's more of a road course in the shape of an oval. Yeah, which it seems to be.
There's Van Dorn.
Yeah, Stoffel Van Dorn has flown out for the Formula E test and has now been told that he's on reserve duties for the next 2 races. But Russell will be in the car in Abu Dhabi if Lewis can't recover in time.
Yeah, to be honest, the last year at McLaren for Van Dorn was only there because his father-in-law was the boss of the team.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the boss of the drivers and the day-to-day running. Obviously, there was 2 bosses above him. But Jill Farron is his father-in-law, and I think it was nepotism because you know, he wasn't doing very well, was he? I mean, I know McLaren weren't doing very well.
Alonso outshined him in qualifying as well. Yeah.
Alonso will outshine everybody, I think. But
just go on then. You can see the amount of lap times that the drivers are doing in each part of the session as well on your screen. Eric, I'll get to a question. I'm going to put my glasses on to get over there. Did you guys think that Russell could fail the garage when he gets into the pit lane? No worries about your English being bad. I completely understand you.
Our Spanish isn't that good either.
No, I went there and trust me, I was abysmal in Spain. So you could probably help me out and go to the Williams box instead of Mercedes box. That's a positive. That's a possible actually. We've seen it happen before. Drivers switching teams but going to the wrong pit box the next race to change over. Martin Brundle famously did it for Brabham when he moved over to.
Jensen did.
Yeah, Jensen did it in China.
Jensen did it. And to this day, I think he did it on purpose.
Yeah, he was leading the race at the time, wasn't
he? Yeah, and he just confused them because they were about to change his wheels.
Yeah.
And they thought, hang on, this is the wrong car.
That would have been funny.
It was so funny. And the Jensen's sense of humour, I think he did it on purpose.
But yes, I think that is a possibility. And every driver's got to be used to getting into a different zone.
Talking of our English, the other people, we don't expect anybody to speak our English like we don't. We're up north, lad.
Yeah, just, if anybody as well sends a question in a different language, we'll put it into Google Translate and ask it just the same, so don't worry.
The thing is, also, like, I find that the best places in Europe, Holland is almost, virtually everybody speaks absolutely perfect English, better than we do. Belgium, absolutely better than the Dutch. And even France, especially the young in France, they all know English reasonably, if not quite well. Spain, you get a bit of the Spanish pride, but most people do understand little bits of English.
Yeah.
So yeah, we all over, you know. And the thing about whether you're in MotoGP actually require you to speak English.
Yeah.
For the media. I'm not sure about Formula One. I think it is.
It is required when you're speaking to F1 TV, but everything else, I think you have to have English as a second language. Only first.
And only 5 countries in the entire world do their airline pilots not speak English to the traffic traffic control?
Goldman asks Scandinavian countries, question marks, maybe in response to you. And Eric has put, that's because we play a lot of video games and we learn English.
Yeah,
that's a good call, actually.
Well, how the Dutch did it is that the Dutch, one of those, and the Belgians had every channel in Europe 10 years, 15 years before everybody else, because they used to have, cable TV. And the other thing is, the Dutch, their TV programs are not dubbed like a lot of people, and most of the Belgian ones aren't dubbed either. We need somebody who's not here today.
Megan will be back with us in free practice too.
No, I mean no. The lad that is a student in
Ribosome, isn't
Ribosome.
he? Yes, might be watching.
I don't know if Belgium. When I was last in Belgium, a lot of the TV was dubbed into English, but then again, I was watching Dutch and English channels most of the time. So, but yeah.
Elisa asks, apologies for getting your name wrong. I'm having to wear my glasses on a small screen, short-sighted, not going well.
I broke mine.
Going forward, do you think Russell could be a reasonable replacement for Lewis if he actually is leaving? Many viewers are suggesting right now. We discussed last week in practice.
Yeah, we did just before all this happened.
Who would be the next superstar?
Yeah, on the screen now is Daniel Kvyat. Daniel Kvyat.
Yeah.
Right. Can I just say that he was not to blame for any of what happened last week.
No, he wasn't. No.
Right. Danielle was in shock afterwards. He saw it all in his mirrors, as did Charles Leclerc. It's just a shocking thing when you see that at any time, whether it's in your mirrors or not, and when you know the person involved, and he knew who was behind him. He knew he'd just had contact with. He knew that Grosjean has 3 children and a wife at home. Right, the lad, he's got a child at home as well. He's a dad himself. He felt
completely.
Danielle said he was sick to his stomach. He felt that although he didn't think he was to blame, just the fact that he had taken part and it could have been in taken part in someone's death really shocked him and
affected him.
We talked in the preview show about how other drivers, such as Valtteri,
was shaking.
Valtteri was shaking, and his eyes were darting from left to right. And I swore, sorry everyone, but I swore.
Forget it. Forget it.
Right,
it's a human reaction, and nobody else minded in the group chat as well. So you're absolutely fine.
Yeah, I know, but
you see a car dart towards the wall and explode. What are you going to say? I had to swallow something.
If anyone hasn't seen the preview show, I say that I can't understand why Ben Edwards of Channel 4 and Crofty of Sky never had the same reaction in tone in the voice that
we did.
Everyone else had.
Yeah.
I reckon Ben did it again.
Yeah.
I reckon that he did swear, or he did get emotional, right, at that moment. And I think, looking back at Sky's coverage, Channel 4's was not good. The coverage of the thing, it was
very cut short by
and it was very what's happened. Oh yeah, okay.
Let's move on. Yeah.
But Sky's coverage was, and I've watched Sky's coverage, and it was a bit better and it was more detailed.
Yeah.
Right.
But we worked out what was going on by just watching the
analysis and you're supposed to translate that to the listeners or the viewers, aren't you?
Yes. And it was very tricky because, as Megan pointed out as well, that I don't think many people have picked up on, Grosjean might have had a puncture going across it because there's a front wing end plate that came off of Sainz's car and it fell back throughout the field. And as soon as Grosjean went over it with his front right wheel, he drifted into Kvyat almost, just at the same time as turning it.
Team Bottas or Team Russell for this race, Eric? Now, Eric, I'd like to point out that George Russell is from 95 miles south of us, right? An area which we have visited all Joshua's life.
Yes.
Right, lives near the Queen at Sandringham. He's from Kings Lynn, right?
Martinstown.
Knew Martin's son. Martin had a go-kart track, and that's how he started and things like that.
Yeah.
Martin is like his dad at the races for him.
Yeah.
And his real dad is a Wolverhampton Wanderers fan, because that's where the family are initially from. And so I'm sorry, but it's going to be Team Russell. When he's racing for Williams, it's Team Russell for us.
Yeah.
It's got to be Team Russell.
I think Russell will do a lot better than
That's
Bottas.
why I call him Georgie Boy.
I
Because,
honestly think I honestly think Russell's going to do something this weekend that we could see.
We was discussing Dieter Renkin's question. If anyone saw the press conference, Dieter Renkin of Racing Lines, who asked some very annoying questions over the years.
Yes, yeah.
But because he's the Piers Morgan of Formula One journalists, and I'll tell you what, I was waiting for it, and no one else was saying it. The lad from the Guardian, and it just touched on it, and then Dieter came out and asked straight out whether or not he thought there was a possibility that Russell might beat him this weekend.
Yeah.
And it flummoxed him. It absolutely confused him. He, in the end, turned around and said, I don't really know what to say to that. He had never contemplated Russell beating him. But this is a lad who not only drives the worst car on the grid and does it very successfully.
Gets through to Q2 constantly.
Yeah, in the worst car on the grid, but has deep knowledge of the basis of that car now. Yeah. You know, what he's got to get used to is the braking distance, the turning distances. That car turns a lot different to the... it's sharper in the corners than everybody else on the grid but the Ferrari.
Russell's out on the track now.
And that's because the Ferrari have developed a similar turning sensation.
Russell asking how was DAS usaged, and he was saying it was all good and reset. So he's got to get used to DAS as well while driving the car.
Because you know, when you're warming up your tyres, that's what Lewis and Valtteri do.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Valtteri realised, hang on, I know George well because he was our reserve driver and our simulator driver. All of a sudden, he thought to himself, heck, I've got a different problem to what I have with when he's driving against Lewis. He's trying to catch Lewis all the time.
Yeah.
Right? Now, he's got to think to, what's my game at defending like against someone that knows the car as well as I do?
And that's what Valtteri is going to have to... He's now the team leader for the next two race weekends.
And he will be good like that.
Yeah.
Valtteri's strength is he has an engineering background.
Yeah.
And he understands what the engineers are saying instantly, whereas other drivers, sometimes Lewis included, has to think about what the engineers are saying to them.
But can he?
And that's where you have to trust your engineers. And Bono Lewis trusts Bono. Bono, they have arguments over tyres and whether to come in and out, things like that. But basically, if it's about setup, you know, right? Lewis puts his penneth in, Bono and the others say how they thought that will react, and then they come to a decision, right? And
let's just quickly back to the question. I want to tie into something you just said. With what Elisa asked, saying that, do you think Russell could be a reasonable replacement for Lewis if he's actually retiring?
I don't think he is.
Don't think Lewis is retiring. But we discussed...
that shocked Lewis last weekend.
2 seconds. Lewis isn't retiring from what we know. He signed at least another year's contract. But as you mentioned in the preview show, Valtteri could be under pressure this weekend because if Russell out qualifies and out races him, regardless if Russell doesn't win or not, if he's ahead of Bottas's contract for next year becomes under pressure, and that's something that you've got to look at.
Have you seen, have any of you out there seen the great interview with Roman that was done yesterday afternoon or early this morning? I think it was yesterday afternoon.
I think it was yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, I know. In which he describes what for us was 32 seconds, which seemed to him like a minute and 45, 2 minutes. George trying to practice getting in and out of the car with a Ferrari on track of
Vettel.
Vettel.
That was yesterday what we were talking about. I will just get back to... go back to Grosjean quickly.
Grosjean, what he said basically happened is that once he went off and hit and he was in the car, he first of all thought, oh, is it sunset? Everything through my visor is orange.
Yeah.
Then he thought, no. Is it the lights? Am I staring at the lights? Then he said, no. And then he thought to himself, oh, my God, because he saw his visor melting. Yeah. Which will be the tear-offs. So he had full tear-offs there.
Yeah, the plastic tear-offs,
They basically melted in front of his eyes. And then he felt, oh, my God, I've got to get out. He'd already undone his belt.
Yeah.
And he tried to get out to the right, and obviously that's the one that's facing towards the ground.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to do that because the
barrier was right there.
The barrier was there preventing him. And so he sat back down, and he said he started to be really calm. And then he thought about, oh, well, next thing is to get the steering wheel off, and he looked, and the steering wheel had gone.
Oh, so that had gone off in the accident.
That had
Wow.
gone off or melted, right?
Well, I would say
so,
it gone off.
and
Yeah.
so he thought, I'm going to end up like Nikki here. I don't want to end up like Nikki. What about my kids at home, my wife? And
All that racing through his
which
mind.
gave him all this happened so fast, and it would, and so he tried to get out towards the left, squeezing himself up.
Yeah.
And his foot was trapped. So
That's
he had
why
to
we saw the
sit
boot,
back
yeah.
down. And
For a
he
third
thought-
time back in
for
the
a
car.
third time, and he thought, I'm going to die here. Oh no, my kids! I can't die here, and I don't want this to be my last race. And so he yanked as hard as he could
Yeah.
on his foot, and his foot came out of his boot, and the boot was left there.
Yeah.
And then he tried to go to the right, and he managed
Just
to
got
get
out,
his
yeah.
hand on the red hot
Halo.
halo.
Yeah.
That's what burned his hands. We thought it could be the thing.
We thought it was the barrier.
The barrier had added to it because it was hot as well.
Yeah.
And he managed to get himself up. And he says once he got his torso out, his
Yeah.
top of his body out, he was he knew he was going to live. Right?
Which was brilliant.
But he
news.
couldn't see anything.
No.
And he was disorientated. Then he saw his eyes focused a little bit, and he managed to see his gloves, which he said are red, which they are. Him and
Yeah.
Kevin driving red
Has
gloves.
red gloves, yeah.
And he said they were black. So he said, "Oh my God!" And all he could see was orange and flame around him.
Yeah.
Right, and he put his hand on the barrier
And got out.
and got
jumped up,
out
yeah.
and put his leg on, and that's where he burnt his foot.
Yeah, on the inside. Because
And
he's got no boot on.
And as
yeah.
he was going over the barrier, he
Oh.
felt as he was trying to go up the barrier,
Yeah.
he felt Ian's hand on his
Yeah,
things
Dr.
pulling.
Ian Roberts, yeah.
Right, he recognised the voice. Obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
Grosjean's been in that car more than Alonso.
Yes,
the
yes,
medical
yeah.
car.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's saying about two. There is actually 3 people in the medical car because there's also a local doctor as well,
In the back of the-
who
he sits
grabs
in
the
the back,
bag
Yeah.
and helps out. You know, he's there as well. There was the local doctor from Bahrain there, and he'd grabbed the bags. Alan had grabbed the
Yeah.
fire extinguisher.
And sprayed it.
A lad,
dramatic- yeah.
a lad had raced over the track and started squirting it at him, and Ian
Yeah.
said, "Squirt it there," because he could see Roman getting out.
So he'd created
And
a
that
wall.
created
yeah.
a wall for him to grab Roman and pull him over. And then Roman said that Ian was shouting, because obviously he was
Yeah.
shouting instructions to him. And he said, I just said to him, calm down or something like that.
Yeah.
And then what happened is sit down. So he sat in the medical car. They'd got his helmet on.
That's when we saw him on
and
the screen.
you could
yeah.
see there was tears coming down his face because
Yeah.
he'd been through what he'd been through. And
Oh, hang on 2 seconds. I don't like this.
that
because-
was too fast.
Yeah, Verstappen's breezing up towards turn 4, and we've got on the inside Raikkonen and Vettel just trying to get out of the way. But the problem is, as Jack Aiken said yesterday, if you have all 20 cars out on the track, you're separated by about 3 seconds in between
I wonder
them.
what that means. Double cooled down by Bottas.
I think
on
that's
the
just
radio.
2 laps to try and cool the tyres because it's such a short lap here.
So he's now out the car, and
Yeah.
they
Back to
realised that
Grosjean.
he's got burns on his hands, and he's got burn on his leg,
He's only
and
pot,
he's got a
as you
rip
said,
on
yeah.
his suit there, where there's obviously a burn there as
Yeah.
well. Not as bad though, because the suit had things. It's
Just been
like-
changed this year, yeah.
And when he said when Alan sprayed him, and the marshal sprayed him with the fire extinguishers, you think, oh my God, he says, I'm on fire.
Yeah, he thought he was on fire.
He thought he was on fire, and said he was just steaming.
Yeah, but he was just
Yeah.
cooling. He had to
And-
cool down as
And
well.
when he
yeah.
got back to the medical centre, John Todd
Yeah.
from the FIA came to see him, fellow Frenchman, friend of his, right? Came to see him straight away.
Russell's on the radio saying there's a lot of sand blowing through turn 6,
Yeah.
which is at the top of the Dune section, actually.
Which is
yeah.
why this circuit has got the Shropshire stone in it,
Yeah.
to give it more grip. But that combined with a 3.6 kilometre wind is obviously causing
Someone's
him
off.
a problem. We've
Sorry,
got a yellow
yellow.
flag.
Where's this on the track?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's not Georgie Boy because he's there.
It's sector 2. So, well, there's not a lot of
There's
sectors.
quite a
yeah.
few in sector 2 at the moment, but I can't see anybody stationary.
No, neither can I. Whether it's a marshal gone off, I don't know. But okay, we've got
Track
green
clear,
now.
so we've gone things.
Not sure
Anyway,
that was.
the nice story is that at the end, John Todd came to see him using his boss of the FIA to get in, and
Yeah.
friends with Roman, and he said, Roman, it's have you got your wife's phone number?
Yeah. To remember
And the
it,
first two phone calls they made to his wife at home with his father and his kids.
Leclerc's off at the top of the sand dunes. He's gone straight on. Similar to how I talked to you earlier on at the top of the programme, how Kazuki Nakajima went off in 2010. Just goes too wide at the top of the hill at turn 5 through just before the chicane section. You just lose it a little bit and you get dust on the track.
Obviously, a lot of people were trying to get through to Marion, is it?
Marion, yeah.
Yeah, to Marion at the time because they were worried about things. And it took 2 or 3 times to get through. And then once he got through, Jean Todt said, "Look, this is Jean. I've got Roman for you, Marion." And Marion knew instantly that it was her husband and this wasn't a fake call.
No, it was definitely,
because of what he said to her. He said, "Mosquito, I'm okay."
And that's the pet name,
his pet name. Strange pet name for your wife,
I don't know.
Mosquito.
I think it's because that must be something how they met as well in the F1 paddock. I don't know. It
could
must
be.
have been something.
Anyway,
But yeah,
it's a really great interview. If you catch it online somewhere, it was Sky UK have broadcast this. That was why I was late to
you were watching it,
because I was watching it.
Well, let's just catch up then because it's taken. We haven't even scratched the surface of what the news has been in the past 5 days. Eric has said, well, so says Eric saying this could be a Netflix documentary, 30 Seconds in the Hell. Yep, and we confirm if Roman Grosjean is a human because I personally couldn't get out of that car. We said that in the commentary in the red flag period.
Roman says that he just at one point he just sat down thinking he was going to die because he was finding it difficult. The thing that had saved his life was now preventing him getting out.
Yeah, the halo.
Because the barrier was pushing against it. And they usually educate these vehicles in one particular way that they get used to.
Yeah.
And the barrier was preventing it in Roman's case.
Oh,
nice.
Max Verstappen saying, I can't see anything, beginning with an S, ending in a T.
F.
And oh my word, this is Leclerc. That was getting out of the way of Verstappen at the top. And that was Albon, sorry, getting out of the way.
This is what we wanted to see. This is what we think Liberty were after by getting the FIA
Constant
to do this
cars,
circuit. Is that it's a 55 to 57 second lap.
Well, right now we've got Bottas on top on a 55.154. Hopefully on the timing graphic you can see the running order.
And you've seen the
it
skill
saves
of
us having to talk
you've seen
about
the
it.
skill of the drivers. Mad Max there is gone
Second,
past about
yeah.
5 cars there.
Yeah, I mean,
at speed.
trying to follow this on Sunday is going to give you a headache because there's so many cars. You don't know what the lap time's going to be. We've got 87 laps
But if
coming
you
up.
increase this, let's be pessimistic now. Right?
Yes.
We averted a disaster last weekend.
Yeah. Coming into this weekend. Oh, look, we've got cars slow on the racing line. Perez and look at the McLaren and Norris flying by.
Yeah, you've got cars coming on top of each other all the time. The teams have got to be up with the drivers, telling them who's coming. We've got a driver tracker. They've got a driver.
Giovinazzi
is stopped on track.
Yeah, according to our monitor, he's just stationary before the. Is that just? That's just down. He's doing a practice start. That's why he stopped.
That's it. I was going to say, here he goes. He's
he's on the way now.
He's off again now. See, we were using the driver tracker for that, so they would know.
And there he is coming out of the pit lane now.
Vettel is gone slow and
he's holding up Stroll.
And holding up Stroll because he's trying to get some gap between him and Aitken, but now Stroll's overtaken him, and so he's heading. All that was for nothing.
As Aitken said, if all 20 cars are out on the track, which they are now, bar Ricciardo and Raikkonen, if they're all out on the track, you've only got a gap if they were spread out equally of 3 seconds.
Kvyat's got a gap and Stroll's got a gap.
I know Kvyat's backed off and he's towed Gasly up towards turn 4.
Yeah, Gasly's with him, yeah. That's the thing about the driver tracker is that 2 whites over the top of each other means you only think there's only 1 driver and there's not. There's 2.
Yeah. We
have a second driver tracker we find really difficult to look at.
It's not actually working at the moment. I'll just try and reset it to see if that works. But we've just lost the YouTube chat.
But we have some great racing in IndyCar that's and this is what they're after this weekend, an Indy style race,
which is going to be interesting. Yeah, you're too. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting this weekend to see what Formula One will be like an attempt of an IndyCar. And this is a lap with Bottas.
It's an attempt, isn't it, to see a different style of racing.
Yeah, and I'm all for it. It's a
Well, you can only try these things. Yeah. That's what we're here for. I mean, maybe it'll go down as well as the changing format for qualifying a few years ago.
Yeah.
Which lasted about 2 races and was scrapped.
Don't even know why it lasted that long. We knew it was damaged in Australia.
But there's more than this track that is capable of producing a circuit like this.
Yeah. So, for instance, if
Canada,
that's an easy one. You know, oh, hello. Sorry to cut across myself, but the wing mirror of the Toro Rosso Danny Kvyat is coming loose. Look, he's having to hold it on through the sand dunes, and at 55-second laps,
you don't want that thing falling off. And
he's driving one-handed. He's driving cross-handed.
Well, that's because he is one of the best drivers in the world, because that's what these lads are.
Yeah. Well, he's managed to hold it on now.
I think he's doing okay. Only obviously the tightener has lost the bolt underneath.
He'll get it back through. But yeah, this is going to be an insane session. Look, we've got half an hour gone, a 55-second lap time. And the top time, Russell's done 17 laps out there. Let's hear from Gasly. Oh, it's Gasly. It's Gasly, not Kvyat. Sorry, the driver tracker told me it was Gasly.
Yeah, I think it's the
Kvyat,
fix in there, Pierre. I think it's just a simple case of it wasn't tightened up absolutely
to the mat, yeah.
And the wind on it has caused it to vibrate and work its way loose.
Now, this is an interesting fact.
Happens on my wing mirrors all the time.
Yeah. Now, this pit lane, as we saw last weekend, it takes 25 seconds to do a stop. It's a 55-second lap. Pit lane is going to be insane. A safety car is going to have to come out. And then we come into the fact that these cars are practically going to go full speed all the time. When are we going to see IndyCar-style accidents? I mean, look at Baku's restarts.
Look at the difference there. The wind is blowing that up completely. Now, the fixing is in the inside of the car for that.
And he's having to hold it down. I don't think it would have come loose. I don't think he had to hold it. It would have stayed where it was.
If he moves his hand, we can possibly see the fixing.
Yeah, I think he held it now all the way up to the sound. There it is.
I mean, that was the interesting thing. Megan came up with it last week. Going back to Roman's accident, Roman is one of those that has the leg coverings. Inside the
shin protectors.
All around him.
Yeah.
So that's what made it difficult as well for him to get out.
And you also got to think as well, going forward with this, we know that the gloves can only last 10 seconds in a fire. That is now going to be changed as best as they can in the quickest amount of time. But the suit was,
they've got to last
20
a
seconds?
minute.
Yeah. The suit was 20 seconds?
Oh,
it was 10?
He was steaming. He looked like he'd just been fried in a fish and chip shop.
It was unbelievable last weekend. And luckily, and even when the race restarted, Lance Stroll tipped over.
Sadly, it took me back to the Bradford fire. In this country, we had a disaster over 30 years ago now, in which some of my mates were playing at the time, and some people I know were playing. And they all described this fire. And the one thing that was in all their conversations was the fact that they had... and I've heard our weather forecaster, shutdown warning.
Oh, sorry, that's fine.
Our weather forecaster, who was the last to get out the stand when he was 15, that's why he's got a high forehead, because it's all burnt there and things like that. But the fact was that people were that hot that day in that fire when they came out of it, and when they hit the air, they steamed off them and then caught fire.
Yeah.
You know, after coming out of the flames with not being on fire, the sheer heat the body had gone through.
And that was
one of the other things we haven't said about Roman is and we did say it in something else.
I think we said it in the commentary during the red flag.
About the fact that when you hit a wall at that speed, although you tied in, your insides hit at the same speed you were travelling at when you hit.
Yeah, 180.
Right, and that's what we were worried about. He had a couple of CT and a PEP scan and we were personally worried about, and so was Kevin. Kevin went to see him later that night, didn't he?
Yes, he did, yeah.
And one of the things Kevin asked him was, did you have any scans, because of the fact that, you know, your insides would have been going at the same velocity and hit your rib cages and anything else.
Yeah.
Organs hitting each other at that speed can cause damage. And the fact that he was in a military hospital, all that had been absolutely gone through because the military medics are used to operating with next to nothing on a war zone, aren't they?
Yeah.
And they have these portable things and things like that, but they had the real thing. He was checked out, and this is why we call him a miracle man. Because basically, he'd got nothing wrong with his insides.
It's an amazing recovery, what he's done. I mean, we suspected broken ribs, didn't we? But that hasn't turned out.
Yeah, because in an air crash where there's no fire, right? And the plane has come to an abrupt halt and split up. The reason you get a high number of deaths is that the sheer G-force, 55 was the G-force measure.
Yeah, 55, 53, yeah.
G-force.
Just saying that on the radio, Carlos Sainz saying the car looks more neutral.
Yeah, we've got 53 minutes left. And
Nikki asking what time do they start practice? Well, the practice is underway now. They got underway around about 40 minutes
ago. George is in 7th, you know.
George Russell 7th fastest.
Well, we didn't let's talk about the race last week as well.
Yeah.
Right? I know it was really tragic for the Racing Point to lose the second car on the last laps of the race.
Stroll flipped over, then we had the incident with Perez.
Our lad Alex got a podium, which is the best thing for him
at this time.
This time, with all that's going on,
we thought that it would be an issue that he
we tried to explain. Riberson's here.
Oh, hello, Riberson. Hello.
Riberson's here. Yeah, what we tried to explain to a few people a few weeks ago that was listening to us, is that the Red Bull car, Gasly, who won a race in Italy.
Yeah.
Right. So he's not a bad driver.
No, he's not. It's all about
done well this season. Right?
Very well, yeah.
In the Toro Rosso / Alpha Tauri, right, has driven it really well. That triggered something in Dr. Marco and
Christian. Yeah.
And I was going to call him Spice Boy.
I thought you were.
In his mind. And the moans that not moans, but the descriptions of the problems that both Gasly and Alex have been saying in their debriefings and in private conversations in the factory
were true.
There was a definite
pattern
of what was going on. One of them was the turning of the car in the corners. It's all set up and designed for Max.
Yeah.
Right? Max turns those corners in a different way, a bit like Lewis does.
Yeah.
And the junior drivers, such as Pierre and Alex, were not able to do that. And
they weren't.
And even when they put other drivers in the simulator, it wasn't things.
It's Max's driving style.
They thought they were honest to something there. And they have adapted the front wing.
Yeah.
They have adapted the front suspension on his car. It's slightly different setup.
Yeah.
It's the same suspension,
but it's
a slightly different, it's a softer setup.
And it's helping him a lot.
And all of a sudden, I mean, Alex has got to get used to this new setup car. And that was why when he wrecked £1 million car,
they weren't bothered.
Like a week ago today.
Yeah.
Right?
This time, actually, looking at the clock. Yeah.
Christian was, because they know that he's a driver. Dr. Marco's expert at drivers.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes
like
he's harsh.
Nicky used to
Sometimes
be.
Not. Yeah. Well, Nicky was
he's
harsh.
Got to be
harsh.
Yeah. He's got to be harsh. Right? He's got results by being harsh.
4 world championships and 4 constructors, 4 drivers.
The only thing I don't like is the way they discard drivers.
Yeah, that is the harsh part.
Toto's way is, right, I'm not going to probably do you in the first team, but I'll get you to drive somewhere else.
Yeah, let's see how you do.
I'll get you in WEC or something else.
Yeah.
Or Formula E.
Which is their baby at the moment for Mercedes, despite the fact that Audi and BMW are leaving.
Toto and his wife are actually rivals.
They are. Venturi, team principal for Susie Wolff, and Mercedes team principal is an owner. You are right there. Is Toto Wolff, and they race both together in Formula E.
That's going to be interesting. I saw something. Are Formula E's doing like they did last year, doing one race in December?
No, they're not doing
17.
Yeah, no races this weekend. No races this year.
Because Eurosport were.
That was the original calendar. Yeah, the original calendar. We got a virtual safety car.
A
VSC. Yeah, virtual safety car has been deployed, but there was nobody out on the track as well. I don't know if that was calling moans from Albon and Verstappen there. But they did. Verstappen moans a lot, doesn't he, about his car setup and how it's not really relevant.
Right. We as viewers and that think of the championship only from a driver's championship point of view.
Yeah.
The teams think of it as a whole for the team championship as well, which is very prestigious.
Yeah, for them it's constructors first, then drivers.
And if you've got another driver, your second driver, not performing as well as the first driver, it's either one of two things. It's either you've set up the car too much for the first driver, and not the second driver, which is what we feel that Christian's actually said.
He sort of confirmed it that it was set up that way, and then
that was the problem.
Yeah.
right? But now you've got to get the lad used to the other car. And the other thing is that, all the drivers moan anyway.
So, yeah,
right? And if we're coming across that, we're moaning. It's because of the fact that we are.
Yeah, got to get that over the fact, isn't it?
We're not going to sit here and tell you things that, like repetitive of what the views of Dill or Johnny Herbert or somebody like that, who we very much admire. But everybody's got different views, and all we talk to you about is telling you our views.
Yeah,
we listen to what's said. We understand
and have a nice
things,
discussion. Yeah,
right. We have to mention Jenny every time she comes up, because her and Josh help each other sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
Her helping you more than you help her.
Yeah, in that respect.
They had this long-running thing during the closed season when there was flooding in Cumbria.
Oh, it was a couple of years back now, wasn't it?
The biscuit factory in Cumbria flooded.
No bourbons.
They along with the lad who died.
Yeah, Henry Hope Frost. Yeah.
Henry Frost.
And Toby Moody was involved.
They were all doing this.
Biscuit
Who
World
was the best
Championship.
World Championship biscuit? I think the Bourbons won, didn't
No,
it?
no, Bourbons lost, unfortunately. I think it was.
That was your favourite.
I think it was Ginger Nuts one, which I was distraught at going forward as well.
Oh, I don't like
Custard Creams actually came just behind Bourbons, if I can remember correctly. But you can tell there's nothing out the track. The green flag is back out, but no cars.
No cars on the track, so we can't actually tell you about anything going on in the track. Jack Aitken. Right.
I was going to move on to Aitken, actually. So yeah,
where is Jack in the listings today?
Aitken's 19th at the moment, just ahead of Fittipaldi. So Aitken's a 57.3, Fittipaldi a 58.002. So we've only got seconds, no minutes. It's unbelievable.
But then you've got Magnussen, who's Fittipaldi's partner.
Yeah, just ahead of him, 57.0.
Just ahead, and Latifi, who is Jack's partner, just ahead of him.
56.9, yeah.
And surprisingly enough, I don't know what they're up to. We do say, though, what was Formula One tweeting us about?
Has George been taking tips from Ferrari? I think that must be because he was...
Yeah, that's what annoyed Valtteri in the press conference, because he was basically, do you remember what happened to Sebastian when Charles came to Ferrari? And he'd never thought about it before, and it flummoxed him. Anyway,
sorry to cut across you there. George Russell has an ice bag in his car, so it's actually has he taken off of the Iceman of Kimi Räikkönen.
I'll give you a little gem then. Probably nothing to anyone, right? But have you ever tried, any of you, driving in wrong shoes?
Yes, it's
because George is driving today in a
size 10,
and
he's size 11,
and he's size 11. Right, so he's very, very tight driving shoes.
It's because he's 26.7.
Because they don't want to cut a hole in Lewis's car.
It's 26.7 centimeters across. He is in terms of his legs, but the cockpit's only 25.
So he's
1 point.
His seat is 3 years old. It's from when he used to be the test driver.
Yeah.
So he's sat in a 3-year-old seat with shoes half a size smaller.
He's not comfortable.
Right, and his legs hunched up a bit more than other drivers. Right, and if you think accelerator and brake and things like that, to be in 7th, that's amazing, George. You're doing well, son.
I think he might just get further up there. Bottas has come out all guns blazing, isn't he, with a 55.154. So he's top of the board for Verstappen, Albon.
You never know,
third.
if he does really well, he might get some apple juice sent to him from the nearby country house known as Sandringham.
I'm not going to leftover.
There's his apple juice. This kid drinks more apple juice than, I don't know.
It's nice. And what we're seeing a replay here, Verstappen coming through the sand dunes at turn 6. Look at the sparks flying up
Eric
as well.
from the country of oranges. I like orange. I have orange and lemonade.
I tell you what, though, this is quite worrying. Look at the aluminium block over the new asphalt through the sand dune section. It was already bumpy there, but
and Ryberson, who's from Belgium, I like the little bottled lagers as well.
Yeah, just have a look.
That's where they're produced. Them in a certain factory in France, which is their rival.
Verstappen just running over those new layouts. You've completely distracted me. You really have completely distracted me there.
We apologise for the loss of our commentator.
I'll get back that.
His father.
Yeah, Verstappen running over the new
Dr.
layout.
Marco's smiling.
We're going to try that for a 5th time. Verstappen running over the new lay of the new tarmac little section of squares,
Yeah.
but it's still incredibly bumpy, and the sparks from the aluminium blocks shot up massively, and that's a question that we've got to go into this weekend.
Red Bull have adjusted their height from last weekend because that was happening too much last weekend.
Yeah, forget that. It's happening to every car. The question is, in the race, it's going to be flat out through that part of the track still.
You've got to remember that last weekend that Red Bull had their first 1-2 for about 2-3 for
2017, yeah.
Since about 2017. So
yeah, but my question,
the setup must have been really well.
My question and my point
apart from that.
The question of the point is the fact that as they run over that on lap 1, he's going to have so many cars, so many sparks flying up. Are we going to see an accident because everybody's blinded by sparks? That's because everyone's going to run over at the same time, and it's going to be a shower of sparks. How are we going to know what's happening? And that's a worry that the drivers have also got to factor in and think about. The sparks are still going to be there on my qualifying map.
Well, if you look at the that is that Fittipaldi in that helmet? I think it is. He's chosen a dark visor for this race.
That's bizarre. Usually it's see-through with the clear visors. Yeah,
it's a lot of them use clear visors.
Well, Felipe Massa calls it the white visor, which is the see-through clear one, but the lights are on the back half. I don't know. Fittipaldi.
Right. Eric says he is confused.
Yeah, it's me trying to get the right layer over itself because I forgot. You distracted me because you were talking about. I completely forgot what the tarmac layoff was called.
Amateur.
As we see Fittipaldi coming into the back half now, turn number 10.
I've got to encourage him to be better, you see.
Oh, don't you start. Across the line then comes Fittipaldi. Now, this could be an improvement because he's fastest Sector 1 and 2 on his own best time and does move ahead of Aiken at 57.077. So that's an okay time, but it's surprising me to say this, but he's got to be within 56 seconds.
Yeah.
No, as Norris goes
Norris,
56.
thank you, Lando. I'm getting worried. Team radio.
Fittipaldi saying his team saying let's push again.
Yeah, you've got to encourage him.
Fittipaldi's backed off
Aiken,
actually on this lap.
You know, they've got nothing to prove this weekend other than their own ability.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't got the cars to go out and blast someone like George has. Right? Let's just see you actually show your abilities, lads. Right? Because we know both of you've got it. We've been following Jack for years. Another one that we've known since the lower formulas.
GP3, Formula 2, he's talking with Campos Racing. Do you know, I went looking for a photograph for the introduction of Jack Aitken. So I went to the Formula 2 website. They've already removed him from the Campos logo. I think, that's gratitude for you. But yeah, they've already removed him, replaced him with Sergio Ganamastas, I think. This weekend.
Isn't Jack the one that you and him used to talk on a lot on
Yeah,
Twitter?
we follow each other on Twitter a little bit, yeah. And I sent him a message of congratulations.
Good.
I said to him,
and his girlfriend, congratulations and kind he keep me near. And you've got those lovely fingernails. Do not chew them.
Alex Thompson, who works at F1 Digital, is Jack Aitken's partner. And yeah, as I sent Jack a message saying, I can't believe it's 4 years since I said congratulations to you for your GP3 drive. Go give him hell in Formula 1.
Pedro Fittipaldi is doing well on this driver track on the straights.
Yeah.
Right, he's getting used to that car. 3 practice sessions, and he'll do okay in qualifying. And I know Jack will.
Yeah. It's so weird, this.
The only worry we've got with Jack is that if he bins it, he had a habit in GP2 of binning it.
He did, sending it, Yotus, the ultimate send, which not many people appreciate that to turn 1, he said in the press conference yesterday. Yeah. But Jack is always going to go for a move, so I'm thinking we're going to see some fireworks from him on Sunday.
George's problem is that he is a known quantity.
Yeah.
They might not know him in that car, but they do know his style.
Yeah.
And they do know things. That is one of the things we can say that George is going to have to watch out for.
Sorry, just a quick question. People asking what Jack Aitken and Fittipaldi's race number is. Well, Jack Aitken's race number is 89, which I understand might be his go-kart race number and the year his girlfriend was born. I'm not too sure, but on the latter with Alex there. But I know that it's definitely his kart number. So
is she older than him then?
Yeah. Just about. Jack Aitken's number is 89. Pedro Fittipaldi's race number is 51. So there you are. There's the ones to look out for.
Hang on a minute. What was Emerson's number?
I think Emerson always had one. I don't think it was 51 though. I'll double
when
check.
he was world champion, he had one.
Yeah, I'll double check what.
Because Lewis famously is the only world
44.
champion not to have his
One,
number one on his car because he doesn't like it. He's had it once, hasn't he?
For a test.
When they said you must have it on your car because you are the world champion. Sometime this season, he did one of the practice sessions with one on it. Didn't he?
Thank you for telling us that our volumes are very low. It's our bus mixer having a bit of issues, so hopefully that's fixed it somewhat. And I'll just turn you up a little bit. There you go. I can.
It's our sound engineer's problem, right? Who set all this up earlier on.
Yeah.
How can I not be loud? I'm loud anyway.
Hang on, I'm going to cut across you here because look who set the fastest second sector time. It's George Russell on the fastest second sector.
Go, George. Go. Come on, George.
Oh, he's done it! Russell top!
Russell top. That is brilliant. Told you we're all for Russell.
Russell goes top on a 55.030. He's a 10th quicker than Bottas. Well, I tell you what, that's put the cat amongst the pigeons. Wow! Russell tops. And Ocon goes third. I can't believe that.
Just the psychological thing that will have done for number 63, George Russell, and against the psyche of Bottas, who is in second place, to his very inexperienced in that car.
Oh, hello.
Valtteri's going to go.
He's coming back out on brand new to the softs.
He's determined now. We're going to have a right little battle between the two of them.
They're battling for a seat at Mercedes, as we talked about earlier on in the broadcast. But if Bottas gets beaten by Russell...
There is one thing, like, I know he'll show his impartiality, but Toto is actually George's manager. Yeah,
I'm wondering how that's going to work this weekend. As we have a yellow on the track somewhere, yellow flags are out. I can't see anyone stopped on the driver tracker.
People were saying to us on the Twitter and on this thing...
on the Twitter,
the other week when we were talking about George, he's going to lose his seat at Williams. Well, if he did, it was very unlikely because they need the Mercedes engines, and you're not going to upset Toto, whose boy is the lad you're talking about.
Aitken's off the track.
He's his manager.
Aitken was the one off the track at the top of the hill at turn 8 and 9, so he's just gone for a little excursion. Lennon O'Brien says, hello. Well done, George. Eric says, we believe in Russell. He's going to make me cry. I think he's going to make everyone cry if he wins this race this weekend. And Lennon also says, how has Jack been doing? Well, Jack's just gone off the track, but he's last at the moment. But on the hard tyres, he's yet to do a time on the soft.
And he's also been coached quite well by his engineer.
Yeah.
This is a pig to drive this car.
That's
just
easy.
Seen,
yeah.
Right? That was...
lost it out turn 2. Easy to do.
He lost it. Looked like he'd gone on to the... We were saying this last week, that yellow stuff that looks like hard sand is in fact yellow AstroTurf.
Yeah. It's the AstroTurf. That's why we saw... Albon's
you go over that white line slightly and you hit that stuff and you think, oh, hang on a minute. Right, that's pretty low, isn't it?
The ride height on Bottas' car,
is very low. Has he damaged that on a curb?
It could be on the... It does look like it's flapping a little bit coming onto the back straight away. We'll keep an eye.
Of course, a week ago we had Max's rear spoiler flapping.
In practice too. And Bottas, of course, had 2 punctures last weekend. Oh, he's had to back out the lap. He's got traffic.
He's not going to do this.
Actually, I'll tell you what. Bottas had to back out the lap. He's got Ocon in front of him, but Russell, his own teammate, has held up Ocon. And now Russell has compromised Bottas. And now Bottas is going to give a toe. Yeah, because now Bottas is going to get a toe off Russell down the back straightaway. Oh, this is tense.
He's had that braking sequence.
Please frame yourself in the middle. Unfortunately, we can't because at the moment, so we have to sort of stay like this because usually I stand, but we have a third commentator who's not here at the moment, so it's quite hard to frame ourselves. If you want, I'll stand up. But
I'll frame Joshua. He nicked the last bourbon.
I did. Oh, we haven't had bourbons in months. Jenny McGowan might be a bit.
I know they're all in your bedroom, hidden under the bed,
locked up in a safe. Right across the line.
Shoebox.
Bottas now starts a lap time again. He's let. Russell's gone back through on a lap time as well. So keep an eye on Russell. But here comes Bottas as well on the circuit. If I back up a little bit, maybe that'll give you something to...
I think it's the camera. I think the camera should be...
We'll fix that. Bottas is off in the first sector as well. So, trust me, it'll look better in practice 2 later on this evening. But it's because we're both sat down in practice 1. But when
I
we're all
have to sit down.
yeah, unfortunately, you can't stand up for long periods of times. As Bottas went off the track there, as now a 10th behind
As
Russell.
our regular listeners will know, I am not well.
Yeah, so you sit down.
I
Yeah.
just.
Oh, Bottas locks up on the outside left, coming into the last corner, runs wide again. This is a very scruffy lap for Valtteri. He's not going to improve ahead of Bottas. Sorry, he's ahead of Russell. And does a 55.154 and doesn't improve. And now, look, we've got traffic into turn 1.
We got yellows there in 2 sectors, and that's
Yeah.
not good going for Valtteri, is it?
Just to explain to Ashad what it looked like in qualifying and practice, I'll still be stood up and moving around the box, and Megan will be here.
For those of you, we have a camera on top of our big screen.
Yeah.
And he took it off so that he could frame us better and placed it next to the buzz mixer
Yeah.
for the
Preview
show. And now he's put it up there. And I don't think, although it's in the middle of his screen, that's not the point. He should figure out that he should use the empty chairs to show where things.
Yeah.
But if we had 3 of us here,
it works.
then
yeah.
it would be roughly right. So it's swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. So we'll work on it for practice too when Megan joins us.
We just blame our technical team because she's still at school.
Yeah, she's back now, isn't she?
What time is it now?
2:27. As we've got Russell.
No, she's just coming out, and
something like that.
because of the pandemic, they all have a thing called intervention, which is catch up of work they've missed. Not that Megan missed anything. The girl works so hard in her bedroom. I'm so proud of her.
Yeah, constant work on science, and that's why she's good in the commentary box as well, to keep an eye on the time screens and the technology. Yeah.
Constant fighting with Joshua.
Over
she
who's
can
in control
kickbox
of the
above
mic.
her own head, so Joshua has to watch.
Yeah, well, you'll see. Join us later for practice 2, getting underway at 5:20 UK time. Megan will join me in the commentary box for that one, and you just see how much of a chatterbox she is. As Verstappen's on a lap time now, he's coming up through the June section again. We've got smoke. Someone's locked up coming through that part of the track.
Well,
it's Stroll and Perez.
Racing Point
through.
Junior team had a blow up on the straight in
Formula 2 practice. Yeah.
Formula 2 practice. And it was Markelov, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Markelov.
The only Russian driver I've ever rated, and he has never been in Formula 1 other than test driving and reserve driver. Markelov, who's another one with a kid.
Yes,
and, it's very mature nowadays. Used to be a bit like a bullet going through everything. But Markelov, he's got a great sense of delicacy on his steering. He knows his speed and his braking. Right? Why he's not been given a chance in Formula 1? It's got to be money.
It must be money. You need money in Formula 1. Ask Nikita Mazepin, who's brought big money with him coming into Formula 1 for
Yeah, and with the Russian oligarchs, you would expect him to have been able to pump up the money for something. But Mazepin, I think it's the money giving him that drive.
Yes.
Over Callum. Callum's the skill. Mazepin has his demons, both in driving and his own life, which he's
can't really go into that much.
He's a really strange young man. I personally would like to see Phipps in that position. If you're going to put somebody in there that isn't British, Yuri Vips.
Vips is good, yeah.
Vips is really good.
If Nikita spins, is he Mazza spin? Yeah, I'm going to say that next time he's on the track. Yeah, I agree completely. As we see, Danny Kvyat at the moment on the times just backed up. Actually, Verstappen started time. So looking good.
With the F2 drivers, Mazepin is treated a bit like the wild man, and the one that none of them really want to get really, really close to. Because that's the thing in F2. I mean, it's going back 5 or 6 years, and it always seems to vanish when they get in Formula 1. But them lads eat together, they play together and go out to nightclubs and drinking together, right? And there's a real all through the pits with the mechanics and everything. It's all for one,
actually,
and one for all. And that's why we say about Mazepin, because he's probably the exception. He's not a mixer.
For just a response to,
because he's a bit crazy.
Just in response to Akash's comment there, I'll actually have a look at that and see what I can do, hopefully going forward. So,
what's his comment?
about how we can use the free space for showing lap times. But the problem is, as you'll see later, with 3 of us in the box, it gets quite. You can't see Megan half the time. So I'll keep an eye on what we can do.
Don't encourage him.
I'll keep an eye on what we can do for times. But the problem is, we can't actually show a lot of times for legal reasons. So we can only show.
He has a lot of encouragement from I think people like his brother-in-law has helped him with the graphics, hasn't he?
Yes, yeah, Jack's that's how into graphics, as you see.
Yeah, Jack used to work for the England team, the England football team, as their computer guy and analysis, all things like that.
He's like Barney from How I Met Your Mother. Nobody knows exactly
what Jack does.
Yeah.
And he still works for them on a freelance basis.
I just quickly, I don't know if I've mentioned that Verstappen's gone top with a 54.848, but Kvyat has jumped to second very impressively in the AlphaTauri at 55.011.
So maybe Christmas is coming up and the lockdown is cancelled for Christmas. So Jack and Kellyanne can come over here. So maybe Jack will be able to figure out something for you.
Yeah, going forward. Let's get him on a template display as the 2 Ferraris.
You can always talk to each other over Zoom.
Yeah, we'll get it fixed. Talking Zoom as well.
I think personally you should black him out completely so that it's just me, right? He should commentate like Ben does, right? Somewhere else and leave me with a close-up camera so everyone can see me.
I just had to point out as well, you're in the commentary box with the only equipment, so that won't work. Megan will be joining me for free practice too later on.
I used to do it from a phone.
Well, you still do occasionally, don't you? You commentate through that, and then it gets broadcast. We ran into an issue with that though at the Eiffel Grand Prix, where we.
Oh, that was Eiffel.
Yeah, we lost you for 47 laps, and we couldn't work out why.
I was at the pub.
No, we could. The internet was really bad that day, so we thought. Yeah, from now on we thought there's only a couple of races left.
I got cardboard cut out and put it in the chair and then went to the pub.
Yeah, we thought let's just bring him into the commentary box as much as we can. But we have fixed the system now as well.
Right.
I laughed at that, Eric. So I'm going to share it in the group chat. There you go. I'm not mean. It's a group chat for public comments. You can go through that.
Yeah.
Can't
the
say
way
it,
he
but
reacted in the press conference. I think you're completely right. I mean. The guy's had Lewis knocked his confidence completely, and now George has come and he's still on he's on an outlap.
Yeah,
Kvyat and Verstappen are above him now, but he's still beating Bottas.
Just to let everyone know, we're on the OBS broadcast software, so there's not much you can do with it. We did try Streamlabs, but we haven't got enough RAM yet on the computer. So hopefully, if not this season to close out, the next season we'll have a lot more info, spacey looking graphics. If I'm not somewhere else with another broadcaster. Cars coming back out the track. I'm just having a quick look as well. There's another brief yellow comes out on the circuit. And
I think it's just an off and on.
Yeah, it's gone green again now.
And I think it was Ocon.
Yeah, because he's gone wide at turn 1. Or I think he must have braked himself. A lot of people running wide at turn 9, though, which is the exit back onto the back straightaway.
This happened in MotoGP with their double things, and it happened earlier this year to some extent. You'd think the second week they would have got used to things a lot more. That happened in Belgium, wasn't it?
Yeah, Belgium was it? No, Silverstone happened, yeah.
Where they
hello, Albon tops 54.811. So Albon now goes top with Verstappen second, and the top 3 separated by less than a tenth of a second.
It's interesting, these doubles that they've done this season in both MotoGP and here, right? How they've done reasonably well in the first one and thought, we'll be clever here. And the certain teams have changed everything in both sports for the second week and done absolutely rubbish.
Yeah.
In the case of MotoGP...
Sorry, we've had Russell in our ears. Russell just having a conversation with his engineer, Bono, just saying about how he does not show the steering wheels.
In MotoGP, right, in one of the double races in Italy, the first week, the top 8 did so well that they were the top 8. In the second week,
it was the underdogs rising back up,
they were languishing in mid-table and towards the bottom.
Yeah, and everyone else
was amazing. And we must say, Marc Marquez had to have another operation. It failed this week, so we're fearing for his career.
It's another 5-month recovery period at best.
Right,
he's already missed the start.
The best thing in MotoGP for the last 30 years
Yeah, has
And
been Mark.
Has been Mark.
Yeah.
He dominated the sport. a bit
Oh,
like Lewis
Russell!
is.
Sorry, to
There
across
you go, Georgie boy.
Russell goes top at 54.546. Perez is just behind us at 55.7. But Russell has just gone 2.5 tenths faster than Albon's best time. So this is what I was going to touch on earlier on. We've got the lads from GP2 and Formula 2 who were looking so quick in top teams. We've got Russell now at Mercedes. We've got Albon at Red Bull. We've got Leclerc at Ferrari. And we've got Norris at McLaren.
All great drivers. GP2 is a great basis for Formula 1.
All right, add in Verstappen at Red Bull. He's a junior driver, if you think about it.
You go back 2 years when these lads were in GP2, and they were doing better times in GP2 with a standard machine with different setups than the bottom 6 in the Formula 1.
And we've got a yellow again in the first sector. Another one's come off now. I'm not sure where that's coming from, but we've gone green.
I think Albon went wide.
Yeah, it must have been Albon. The track is green, so the session's back underway. We're just going to keep an eye on that one. Leclerc's coming to the pit lane. Vettel, I think, also went off the track at a different point.
On a random subject, did you see a guy has baked one of in the lockdown? People are trying to break record after record and record, and Leclerc.
Yes, I did.
The largest Leclerc in the world.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
You and Megan love cream, the whipped cream.
Oh yeah, and ice cream.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have lots of it piled on their ice cream.
I'm having a bowl between the sessions actually to give my voice a cool down.
Yeah, to think that shirt's 3 years old, it's unbelievable. That
it is actually 3 years old. You're correct with that one. Yeah.
Well, I'm not stupid. I know when you buy these things or when we buy them for you.
Yes, lovely.
Right?
If anybody wants to send me a crazy shirt, I'll wear it on the broadcast. Although
Megan used to have a Williams suit when she was 8 years old.
She did, yes. Although
Williams,
I'm glad you put that up because I have actually been told by Megan and people who sent in things via my Twitter private handle at JoshuaButch99. They've actually said to me, reminder, you didn't say if Williams scored a point. You said if Russell or Latifi scored points this year.
And Russell is where?
Mercedes. So it looks like
let's get the shirt out.
It looks like I'll have to wear a Williams shirt in Abu Dhabi, which I don't mind, but it'll be fun as a little.
It was one of his favourite shirts when he first got it.
Yellow's out of the track again. It's Alexander Albon has spun and stopped at turn 3, actually exactly where Grosjean had his accident.
Yeah, Albon is not.
And he's the wrong way round, actually.
I was going to say, he's not moving, so.
Yeah, so he's back round on the track now, just doing a complete
Let's
360.
remember that practice 1 is for you to push the new track, the track you're learning for this time, which is a completely. Yeah, he's spotted those tyres. He's got quite a bad groove on the left front.
Yeah, so Albon does a 360 and gets back around. I'd like to see how that happened, actually.
Yeah.
But the green.
Megan has arrived.
Returned, yeah, I can hear it in the ears. So she'll be back with us.
The Chevrolet has just entered the building.
So she'll be back with us in free practice 2 later on this evening. I hope she remembers. If not, then she'll be a bit unhappy and grumpy.
It's not too loud, by the way. It's because it drives into a brick.
It echoes back into our ears. Oh, that's how he did it. Look off.
He was attached to this, and there. Yeah,
he was lucky. He was very lucky.
He was close, but another thing Christian says and him and Dr. Marco want him to push to the limit.
Yeah, so it's coming out of turn 2.
You're only going to get that experience by pushing it to the limits.
Comes out of turn 2, catches the AstroTurf, which looks like the sand colour, but it's not the AstroTurf. Spun round and narrowly missed the barriers. And there's a tyre wall there now as well. And he was already complaining that the vibrations are pretty poor before he had the spin. So the tyres must be done. How many laps has he done them? Total of 9 laps on those tyres, 13 in total.
One thing we were also saying was, because we're IndyCar fans as well, IndyCar have they don't have the halo, they have a
aero screen.
Aero screen, which makes it look like a fighter jet.
Yeah, we said that would have worked.
That wouldn't have worked last week.
Yeah, it works for IndyCar because they race on ovals.
Yeah, they also have big. As soon as the crash, out comes the
full course yellow. Yeah,
the full course yellow.
Although
and that allows the trucks to go on immediately.
Yeah. The red flag did come on immediately though. As soon as the accident happened, it triggered the sensor that I talked about last week. That in situations where there's a big accident like that, it's the driver's life support system, the flashing light that with the biometric gloves, it reads your pulse. And what happened in the accident was it works through the steering wheel. And as you said, now we know why. The steering wheel wasn't there. So in that procedure with the big accident, because the car was ripped in two, there was no power to it, it turned off the life sign signal for Grosjean, and immediately it triggers the red flag. Michael Masi does nothing but with pressing the button. As soon as that happens, it's an instant red flag. So that's what happened last week. That's why it came out so quickly. It was an instant red flag. Same thing happened with Anton Hubert's accident as well. The medical light flashed and it immediately was stopped. So it's an automatic procedure for those type of accidents.
Yeah.
As Russell's on the track, what's he gone up to? He's on the radio as well. So give us a second. And it's what you were talking about. He's with his 3-year-old seat. He's struggling with shoulders.
He's also a very tall lad.
Yeah, 6'3". So he's tall.
Which is, in Formula One terms, let's put it this way, the majority of them are smaller than me, and I'm 5'8".
They're like jockeys. Yeah. The Formula One drivers are like jockeys. They're tiny in comparison as well. And Russell, unfortunately, is
Aiken
quite tall.
Stopped, is it for practice start?
Yeah, it was just practice start and start finish straight, yeah. And he's just come out of the pit lane now, so yeah,
Andrea's giving his opinion on what McLaren are doing.
Well, McLaren at the moment are going to have a bad weekend at the moment. They're 13th and 16th, and last weekend they were 4th and 5th and had great result. Jump racing.
What a signing for McLaren! Andreas Seidel.
Yeah. Getting him back in.
Because he has really he joined when there was improvement. Gilles Ferrand and them had improved things quite a bit. And then when he came, he brought structure, he brought a Totoism, like Toto, and you're seeing the things he brought. The two drivers he has are excellent for the things. I mean, that's why Ferrari's poached one.
Carlos off there. How much is Sainz regretting that decision as well? I might just add you to that, because I don't think Ferrari are going to be competitive for at least until 2022 when the new regulations come in. So that's going to be something to watch as well going forward. But at the moment,
he's got to be hit less like he is. McLaren allow him and Lando to act up, and it relieves the tension in the team. That won't happen at Maranello.
No, and I'm worried about Ricciardo and Norris together, the two practical jokers on the track. They're going to be fantastic, aren't they? This is on board.
They'll probably
with
swap
Norris.
Helmets and swap numbers on the cars.
And he's going to race away,
and race and see if people things. But then again, that happened in esports.
Yeah, Daniel Apps changed his car with an esport driver.
Anybody who don't know Daniel App, right? Daniel App's dad and his brother. A well-known racer, famous for Le Mans 24 and things like that. His dad is ex-racer, went up through the team, just team boss, and he's team boss of the Audi team in Formula E and in Le Mans.
With Alan McNish, who's team principal, But his dad is team boss.
That's why, because he's all-out Audi boss, isn't he?
Yeah.
For the motorsport teams. And there was an incident a few years ago where he told Daniel to let someone pass who would win the championship if he passed in the same team.
I think it was Lucas, wasn't it?
And Daniel ignored his dad and
Mexico, I want to say. I can remember
Daniel
that race.
Daniel ignored his dad, and there was eruptions.
Yeah.
Right.
I see. He won though, and he won a race on his 30th birthday in Hong Kong. Only for about an hour later for him to be disqualified.
The kid's a good driver. He's just he's a bit like that lad in IndyCar that used to race Formula 2.
Santino Ferrucci.
And
you immediately were going with Ferrucci.
When he was over here, he was the right Ed.
Yes.
Right. And he was a nutter. Right. He'd gone to IndyCar, back into the bosom of his family. And through harsh words, being told to grow up a bit.
Yeah.
And Ferrucci's now one of the best up-and-coming young drivers in IndyCar.
Yeah, he takes that. I think Pato O'Ward as well, adding with that as well.
Yeah.
O'Ward is Formula One material. I've said that before.
14 minutes to go, and I think that Georgie Boy has really set Bottas a problem.
I cannot believe it. He is, 3/10 quicker than Valtteri Bottas.
One of the things with Valtteri is that if you fluster him,
you've got him.
You've got him.
Yeah.
He's down on you, right? If he tries to fight back and can't, Russell is practice starting now.
Yeah, he's just at the exit the pit lane.
The pit lane.
As Norris doesn't improve on his own time again, so he's got to find some more pace.
He's got to wait for Ocon to go past to do this practice start. Ocon just punishing the finishing line now.
And away goes Russell.
And away he goes.
And Latifi is now doing a practice start, and he's just gone as well. Ocon's rejoining the track. Aiken's into the last corner. Everyone at the moment just on exploratory laps. They've got 14 minutes. That's 14 more laps basically around the circuit, and they don't want to do that. They want to have more time.
In the press conference, George was asked how much conversation he's had with Lewis. Lewis is ill.
Yeah,
he will be doing more than what they're admitting to because of the fact that Lewis doesn't like you telling
engineers.
If you're trying to help, like he is with Albon, Lewis has been helping Albon for nearly a year now in understanding how to do things in Formula One, problems with his driving and things like that.
Yeah, just trying to
Lewis
get
helps a lot of the young drivers, and he gives them encouragement and things like that. I know they have their spats on the track, but Lewis is very proud of the way Alex has had the problems of the car and his own abilities be coming into question in his own mind. And Lewis is the one that's been helping him with that. And so George will be getting... But Lewis does not like that to be told
to anybody
in a press
else.
conference or in an interview.
It's private.
He likes people. For years, Lewis said, I don't really mix with the others.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
He does,
He just doesn't, once he's away from the track, he probably doesn't.
It's going to be interesting, though, this weekend to see, of course, because Russell will have access to all of Lewis's data from last week and this week. Well, not this week, obviously, it's not racing, but he's going to have track data and knowledge.
Well, Bottas is putting his foot down now.
Yeah, Bottas is on a time.
He's at the top of the circuit at the new bit.
Yeah.
And he's trying to catch Gasly.
For a tow. He needs the tow, yeah.
And he's really put his foot down. And Gasly has then obviously been told. And now Bottas is doing the opposite. He's trying to create a gap. Gasly is at the last corner. Bottas halfway down the last straight.
Yeah.
Right. And now he's going for it. Right, he's got a bit of a gap.
He's got Kvyat just behind him as well, as I think you picked up on.
This is what we're saying. He went for the toe off Gasly, couldn't do it, so he's thinking to himself, "What do I do now? Get a gap and try and get a clear run." And so he's thinking all the right things. He's thinking on his feet. It's just that every time he tries something, it seems to be something. Other people are stopping.
Up here in our commentary box monitor, which is what we see during qualifying, you on your timing screens at home with the world feed only see if it goes green or purple in each sector. We can see each corner on the track and how quick they're taking it. And so far, Bottas through the first 4 turns was yellow, and he's still yellow now coming through the S's section at the top of the hill in the second sector. And it looks like in sector 3 he's not going to have a much good time either.
Yeah, so, I think he's struggling.
Russell looking incredibly good. An outlap
Day 1 to George.
Yeah. We'll practice 2 later.
Right.
That's going to be interesting.
Bottas has got 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, to
actually get the upper hand, and I don't think
he will. No, not in FP1.
What's going on?
No, nothing. Yeah, I think FP1 as well, as Bottas now crosses the line and doesn't improve again. So it's a 54.868. His lap time was a 57.773. So again, not an improvement. Here is, I believe this is
10 minutes to go.
Russell. Yeah, this is George Russell now coming to the top of the S's. And he is absolutely blowing everybody away. Top of the board in your first session for Mercedes. This is what I said to you all week, ever since we found out. He went in the test at Bahrain. He went day one in a Williams. He was the slowest on the track. The next day, he tested for Mercedes. He was the fastest by about 0.6 of a second. He is amazing as Renault, as Ocon nearly comes together with Carlos Sainz through turn number 1. That was close to contact, wasn't it? As here comes Russell now through. So Russell starts another lap as we have 10 minutes to go. It's all go now. 10 minutes, 10 laps. Everyone basically on new tyres. Now you go out there and see what you can deliver. And what we had the issue last week was practice 1 and practice 3 took part in the day where it wasn't really relevant. All sessions for this weekend Sakhir race are taking part in the night.
I like a certain Australian's Mark Webber's opinion during the week about how could they have got into the cars and done the race that they did after what they'd seen.
Yeah.
And he basically said, that's because all racing drivers aren't wired up like the rest of us, you know?
Yeah.
They have this ability to just concentrate and forget it. And the press conference, 2 or 3 of them said that they were just doing that.
Yeah, just
That
forgetting about it.
They cut it out of their mind and the things like that, and they were just concentrating on being professional. Russell, George said he's struggling a bit with downshifts into
Turn one,
with
yeah.
excessive rear slip.
So has he got more time to find out there? This is the thing. He's going to learn quicker.
Yeah,
and
he's
quicker.
top with that.
And
then with practice start
for Verstappen. Yeah. Oh, we heard on our radio there. So what they saw us text. We heard in our ears. Yeah, you saying there's a slip at the back. I must admit.
That's rear brake bias.
Yeah, I'm looking down and I'm seeing the name Russell on the timing monitor's top. I'm still triggering in my brain. It's a Williams, not a Mercedes, because I'm trying to remember myself. He's replacing Lewis.
The awful thing is that Williams are one of the most outstanding Formula One teams of all time. And to see them in this predicament and being British like we are isn't nice. It really isn't nice. I remember the glory days of Williams where that was the team you wanted to be in if you wanted to win a championship.
Always go for the Williams.
People fought to be in that side.
Mansell, Prost. Well, Mansell was kicked out for Prost to come back in, only for Prost to leave after a year, and they brought Senna in.
Yeah.
So it was a really merry-go-round in the early 90s. And then Damon won it, and Jacques Villeneuve was their last world champion. As now we see Verstappen started lap time. Verstappen's got Bottas about 4 or 5 seconds in front of him. So it's not really going to give him a tow. But I'm looking at Russell, who's trailing Leclerc, Latifi, Giovinazzi, Norris, Raikkonen and Gasly around. And now he's just catching up to Ocon as well.
Yeah, this is what we were saying, that this circuit is so fast that you're going to be on top of each other in a fast car.
Russell's done 41 laps in this session alone. 41. Verstappen's done 21.
Max taking that in 4th and then this one in 5th.
Yes, and now on to 6th gear as well.
Yeah, 6th for the next. So he's doing he's doing 4th, 5th, and 6th in the S's. That's driving, and no wonder he lost it on the exit.
The S's sneak up on you here because you're turning towards the right, and then immediately it's going uphill for the crest of the braking zone. You can't see the turning point, so you've got to turn in and just hope you hit the corner.
One of the things that has gone from Formula One, I believe, is that on the right-hand side or the left-hand side of the steering wheel, there used to be a sticker, which was at about 6 inches by about 2 inches, maybe a little less, maybe 5 inches.
Yeah.
And it was a map of the circuit that you were on.
I think
and they just changed the sticker. Since we've got these new steering wheels, they have the ability, I think,
change the mapping,
to change the map.
I think I've seen that on a couple of cars this year. It's like they still have the track map on you because it's helpful.
Well,
to
sometimes you see.
Sometimes
you must when some of these drivers, like the one earlier who asked, "Shall I go straight on?"
Yeah, can we do this on this part of the track?
Can we do this on this part of the track? And that the old map they would just glance down and gone, "Yep, that's the one. Here we go."
They've got the full track map as well. The engineers with this one highlighted on because there's 3 different configurations around this circuit, or 4 technically. As well, so you've got the outer circuit, the inner circuit, and the endurance, and then the Grand Prix. I think that might be 5, but yeah, I'm disappointed that we're not using the endurance layout. Everybody's going to go, "Oh no, 2010 was boring. It was called Bahrain for a reason." No, I think 2010 was dull because it was taking part in a hot desert, beginning of the year, the hottest day in Bahrain in history, and we had new cars, new temperamental, new rules. No one was pushing hard. I think the endurance circuit with these cars would be fantastic to see because it would be fantastic.
One of the things that always amazes me, we've got Russell there from Kings Lynn, right? And he's about the 3rd driver from Kings Lynn over the years. The most famous being Martin Brundle. And then you've got the situation with Stevenage in Hertfordshire, where Lewis comes from, Johnny Herbert comes from, and even our own dear Crofty comes from.
Yeah, David Croft from Stevenage.
And the local kart track also was where Jensen started. And it was one of the French lads started there as well. I don't know how, but he did.
Oh, deep there from Bottas.
Yeah, but one of these French lads. It was one of the ones from about 5 or 6 years ago.
I'll get back to you on that one.
But what is it about these small towns in the middle of nowhere
getting the action?
I think the main link is that they have kart tracks.
Must be.
Yeah, but these small there's not a lot to do else to do.
Bottas locking up on the front left.
I like Kingsland.
Bottas saying he keeps locking the front left. I think you're right. Russell's got him.
Yeah.
He's immediately under his skin in practice. The best thing Russell could have done was top FP1, and he's done it.
Yeah. Get into his head. Get into Verstappen's head.
And Bottas's, yeah.
Yeah. We like Kingsland, don't we?
Yes, we've been there. Sandringham.
Used to be famous for its Campbell's Soup Factory.
There you're on about, look, he's just changing the HPR.
Yeah.
So the hydraulic pressure is being changed now for Bottas in braking. So let's see how he's adjusted that now down the start and finish straight. Into turn one's braking zone this time. He hasn't locked the front left or the front right, so this is good so far. But this could be Bottas' last chance to top the session. He's made a bit of a hash on a turn 2.
He's gone overboard there.
Yeah,
he's
and now
lost seconds there.
Yeah, now he's up towards turn 4.
Fractions of seconds, anyway.
Yeah, so that's pretty much gone. Around this lap time where we've seen gaps of top 3 in the same tenth of a second earlier on in the session, then Russell came and obliterated the lap time. It's going to be crucial to get such a good qualifying. Do you see the bump there? It almost broke off the front wing of the Mercedes. It was that violent in the oscillation as well. And it was going back down this back straightaway then. I know that Martin Brundle's new favourite word to talk about the bumps and the oscillation is the retardation of the energy coming through. I've spotted that a couple of times this year, Martin saying that. But Bottas, I think, is not going to top anything. No, he's like this lap time crossing as a 59-second lap, and he's backed off as well. So Bottas, I think, has now been a little bit under the skin, and I can't believe that George Russell, in his very first session for Mercedes, is another lock-up for Bottas. He's topped the session, and he's going to turn the quicker.
Verstappen's going to have a go at that.
Yeah, he's going to go.
But the fact is that if Russell is above Bottas, he's done what he needed to achieve. But topping the session would just be the icing on the cake.
I think crucially as well, the 2 Red Bulls have split Valtteri as well. So
there's replay of Valtteri.
I liked Valtteri, but I'm no longer thinking. I'm thinking Valtteri more of Rubens Barrichello more and more.
You tried being the teammate of a genius.
Yes, I know, but
you asked Johnny Herbert.
You're supposed to be the second best driver in the world.
Or Martin Brundle. Their teammates were certain Ayrton Senna. And in Brundle's case, it was Michael Schumacher.
Can I just point out, I think this here makes the case that it's not the car that Lewis Hamilton's won with, it's the driver. Because look, Russell has topped this session, and he's 3/10 quicker than Bottas, but they're in the same car. But Bottas is still slower than both Russell and Hamilton. It's not the car that's doing it, it is the driver. We saw how quick Russell was. He was in Q2 constantly this year with the Williams. It's the driver that makes it. A driver makes the car. That's what Gordon Murray always said, and he still says it as well. The car is only as good as its driver.
Yeah, well, that is completely correct. But a driver can only be as good as the setup of that car as well. It's a team effort. Call, yeah. It's a team effort.
That's a better call than what I did, yeah. As 50 seconds left in this session, I think, who's that? That's Albon. So Albon's done.
Stood there. Watching the deltas.
So he's done after doing a total of 18 laps in this session. That's not a lot at all. And how long has he been in the pit lane, actually? So Albon might have had an issue. Verstappen's been told about track limits at turn 2 and turn 4, which is at the top of the hill. He says, just don't worry about it. He just said.
Have they not deleting track times this time? Because they abandoned that last week at Bahrain.
I think they are deleting it because
for the Sakhir Grand Prix, are they doing the same?
I think they are, because how on earth do you track manage this?
This is going to be an amazing fact in the next minute. The lad who's been in Formula 1 for 18 months and not scored a point, is going to top a practice session in his first things. And I think only Verstappen can do something about it. Because I think Valtteri is...
No, he's lost it. So going to cross you. Verstappen's just crossed the line, and he has stayed in second place. Albon's in the pit lane, so is Bottas. George Russell, in his first session for Mercedes, tops free practice 1 at 54.546.
And all the doubters will be turning around and going, well, we said it was all the car.
Yes.
No, he's so talented, that lad.
Yeah. Akash saying, do you think Albon will keep his seat? Just quickly to wrap that up, I think yes at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment.
I think we won't be.
I heard last week that he got another 6 months.
I think we won't see anything until mid-season next year. Let's give it, or maybe Spain.
If you're going to cancel a contract, you've either got to come to a financial deal with him. B, if he's peeved, right, and takes it to arbitration, you've got to
Yeah.
justify it.
Yeah.
And if he comes to arbitration and said, well, they set up the car and built the car around Max,
Yeah.
and it wasn't the standard of other drivers, me and Gasly couldn't drive that car. Without them trying to change it, they could go to the court of arbitration for unfair dismissal.
Yeah, I think that's
And
something we're going to see.
so that was why they were umming and ahhing and giving him a chance, and he's now got to take his chance. He got a podium last week. He's in the top 4 this week.
Top 3 at the moment.
Top 3,
Yeah.
yeah. I've just looked at it myself, and he's still in the top 3, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought Bottas he backed
I
out that.
thought he jumped up. Yeah. So look at that, and they're even confirming it on all the other monitors as well. Russell is top. I cannot believe this. I mean, Eric's saying, "Let's go, Russell." Group chat as well. Lewis Brown, Russell.
That will be so damaging to Bottas's confidence.
Yeah. Well done, George Russell.
It's one thing getting beaten by Lewis, but
Yeah.
to get beaten by George Russell,
Yeah.
right? Now, nobody doubts his opinion, his driving abilities, right? He gets letters, emails off a number of drivers, past and present,
Yeah.
right, including Vettel and Lewis, saying how well he's doing in that Williams, right? Nobody doubted that. But to come across from Williams to Mercedes, right, where you virtually know the car but not fully,
Yeah.
and do that is amazing. I'd never expected. I wanted him to,
Yeah.
but I never expected him to. I thought Valtteri would pull out all the stops. I thought Max would take control of the situation of Valtteri
Yeah.
trying his hardest, been making mistakes like Valtteri does. And
I can't believe it.
George has just gone in there, calm as you like, and
6
top the session.
6 foot.
He's sat there,
Yeah.
and you can see
He's grinning. You can
he's
see his
grinning
grin. There
like
he is.
mad.
He's 6'3". He's wearing size 10 shoes when he's size 11. He's in a. He's
His knees are slightly up.
Yeah, he's 26.4 inches in a 25-meter cockpit. And look at that, for the very first time. Well, actually, no, because I think he topped it in Germany 2018 in a wet free practice 3, actually. So for the second time, but for the first time with meaning, George Russell.
It's top to charts.
54.546.
And if you think how difficult that is, lay on your settee
Yeah.
with your head on the thing, and then just raise 1 inch off the surface of the settee, your knee, and that is the position that George was racing in just then for that practice session.
It's Russell, Verstappen, Albon, Bottas, Kvyat, Gasly, Ocon, Vettel, Ricciardo, Leclerc top 10, Stroll, Perez, Sainz, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Norris, Magnussen, Latifi, and then in their first sessions, Pietro Fittipaldi is 19th and Jack Aitken 20th, but they will get quicker as time goes on.
And crucially, they're 2.5 seconds from the top.
Yes.
Right? Well, they're in cars that have been 4 and 6 seconds in this season behind.
That's
So
amazing,
that is not bad.
Akash, I've got good news for you here. We're here all weekend and for the remainder of the season. We're doing all of these live. So we will be back for free practice 2 at 5:20. Megan Burge joins me in the box. No, you're not. You'll see you tomorrow. But Megan joins me for free practice 2 at 5:20 UK time. The Friday practice review is at 11 o'clock UK time. Tomorrow we're on air, I believe, same time as this one for free practice 3 and qualifying. And the race, of course, is live 6:30. Our coverage start for the pre-race show. Lights out 5:10 UK time as well. And hopefully we'll have a cracker. But I cannot believe George Russell, in his very first session for Mercedes, has just topped by over a 1/10.5 to Verstappen, Albon. And he's 3 tenths quicker than Bottas. What a session.
What a lad.
So we'll be back from us all here. Bye for
There's
now.
the miracle boy.
Oh, yeah, just 2 seconds, actually, because there's Grosjean coming back in with another interview.
That's
Catch
the
that.
interview we're talking about. If you're watching anything, look at that fire. There's a lad the other side with a proper spraying water from a proper hose.
Yeah. So
that helps as well.
if you want Sky Sports F1, you can catch that interview as well. But we'll be back then for free practice 2 at 5:20. Bye-bye.
Bye.